Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Peter Brown here with Maxwell and Peter at Gamescom. First day of the show. Yep. What did you look at this morning?
So this morning I got to kick things off with Deadpool.
Yeah?
This is a third-person action game developed by High Moon Studios. They released a trailer for it not too long ago. We got to see a hands-off demo. I didn't get to play it at all, unfortunately, but what they did show was pretty straightforward flair. What really stood out to me was the Deadpool character. They definitely have Deadpool's mannerisms, his vulgar language, all of his just like eccentricities down to a T.
So they got the character, but what about the gameplay?
So he's a real hilarious character. Unfortunately, the game, a little underwhelmed, but it's still very early. Keep that in mind. The game is very much still in development. But like the sections that they showed, it looks sort of like Ninja Gaiden Light, basically. Deadpool was running around with his katana, slashing people up. It looked very mashy. A good third of the demo was just a turret sequence inside of a helicopter, which honestly wasn't too exciting because we've seen a lot of those before. So hopefully, there are still things to come that we haven't seen yet, obviously, with this game. But definitely. Cautiously optimistic, I guess, is my takeaway from it. So what did you start off with?
I started off with CD Projekt. I visited their booth, and they were supposed to have their new unannounced secret title, but that really wasn't there. But what we did get to see was their new toolkit for creating mods for Witcher 2, known as Red Kit. They sort of had something for the original Witcher called Genie, but apparently this is a more user-friendly version. I have not used Genie, but what we did see was pretty straightforward, and it seemed like most people could jump in and at least create things that weren't necessarily tailored to their specific needs, but we're totally functional within the game world. But when you do want to sort of go in depth, you can sort of tweak all these little parameters to, a hundredth of a decimal. I mean, it was really robust, but it was also easy to use, and it looked really interesting.
So how does the distribution work? Like, is there a system in the game for like going through all these mods and finding the ones that you want?
They didn't quite elaborate on that. Somebody asked about Steamworks, and they said that it's something they're thinking about, but they definitely didn't announce that, like, yes, it will come or no, it won't. It was kind of just like, yeah, we're thinking about that.
And then when is it going to be available?
It's coming out next year, but if you want to get early closed beta access, you can actually go right now to thewitcher.com/redkit, and you can apply. They're sort of looking for people who have previous modding experience, so they can really provide them with the right feedback. I gave them my info. I'm going to try to get in there personally. Yeah.
Well, after Deadpool, I swung over across the street over to the Radisson and checked out PlayStation All-Stars. Yeah. They had a quick presentation for that. They just announced a handful of new characters, including Sackboy, Dante, and two others who I don't remember right off the top of my head. But they had a quick presentation showing off all of them, but they also, no hands-on for that either, so I actually ventured down to the public show floor, got down there, got into the trenches, got a little bit of hands-on time, and focused just solely on Dante, because I just wanted to focus my time in. And when I first picked him up, he sort of seemed like a jack-of-all-trades type of character. This is new Dante. This is new, reboot Devil May Cry Dante. This isn't classic Dante. But he had, his sword, he had the scythe that you've all seen in the DMC trailers. He's got his dual pistols. And so he definitely has a mixture of ranged and melee attacks. But his range attacks, as I was playing, were actually super bad and unsafe. His guns, he'll pull them out, he'll start firing them quickly, but when he's done, he does this little flourish and puts them back in their holsters, and you're super vulnerable whenever that's happening. And he also has a couple of pistol moves that actually push you towards your opponent, so he'll walk forward while shooting, or he jumps forward while shooting, and then when he's done, you're totally helpless while he puts his guns back in his holster.
That's the technical
noise that he makes too.
Fair enough.
So he's definitely, I'm going to say he's definitely more of a melee-focused character rather than a fully well-rounded character. But I took a whole bunch of notes. I'm going to do a full write-up on him later on.
Clearly you love Dante.
I do love Dante.
Okay, but you also saw Injustice?
I also got to see Injustice. Unfortunately, even though they just released the trailer for Catwoman, she was not playable in this build. It was basically the same stuff that they had to show off during Comic-Con, but I did film a really nice interview with Mr. Ed Boon himself, sort of on the game, and about fighting games in general.
That's cool.
So that was interesting, and we're definitely going to get that up just as soon as we can.
So I got to see new Dishonored stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I actually had not played this game before. I've been following it, but this is my first hands-on time. And apparently it's a new demo, compared to the one they showed at E3. It's the level following that. And essentially you're attending a masquerade party. And since your character has a mask, you kind of fit right in. And so due to that, it sort of introduced the first neutral zone in the game where you're not necessarily threatened by people around you. You don't have to be stealthy. You can literally walk around, but you can't just kind of go killing people. You could try, but they have a new enemy type in there called the Overseer Musician, I believe. And what he'll do is he'll play an instrument which will disable all your magic. but he's also got this armor that is impenetrable by bullets. So really, you can't go in, guns blazing. Yeah. So you spend a lot of time trying to figure out who this one woman is out of 3 sisters, and they're all wearing different colored masks. But the interesting part about that is, even though you go in and say you play it the first time, you figure, okay, she's the one in the red mask. When you play it again, it's not necessarily her.
Oh,
so the dice rolls every time. Yeah. So it mixes it up. It's not just that you can do things differently; it's that the objective is altered in a way. So that was
really cool.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And for my first time with the game, I felt like it left a really good impression. And with more of an introduction, I think I would have had a little bit more time to complete the level. But now that I wasn't able to, I just want to go back and play it some more.
I know replayability is such an issue with games like that, where it's like first person, sort of you're driven down this set linear path, and it's like you get done with it. Why would I go back and do it again?
Yeah, once you know where they're walking,
I know.
like,
once you figure out all the patterns and everything, it's all good to go. But that's really cool that they like randomize it in little ways like that.
Yeah.
But do you remember when they said what's the release date on that again?
I did not get a release date on that. I'm not sure that's actually been announced yet.
Okay, well, probably not. But yeah, I think that just about does it for this first half of the first day of Gamescom proper. But we've got more coverage on the way. I've still got more appointments to get to today.
I got more appointments too.
So we'll be getting back to you guys as soon as we can with more of GameSpot's coverage from Gamescom 2012.